Caitlin Clark's teammate takes down WNBA in admissions surrounding finals. These are exciting times to be a WNBA fan. With the ongoing 2025 WNBA Finals between the Las Vegas Aces and the Phoenix Mercury, everybody is busy watching these two quality teams clash. However, one of Caitlin Clark's teammates has shown no interest in watching the WNBA Finals. That teammate is none other than her protector, Sophie Cunningham. Some may think that she isn't watching the finals because her team isn't in them. But when we hear her side of the reasoning, it all seems to make sense. Talking about the 2025 WNBA Finals on the recent episode of her Show Me Something podcast, Cunningham explained why she needs a break from the league. When her co-host asked about which team she'll support, Sophie had this to say: "You know what? I don't even know if I'm going to watch. I'm over it. I need a break from the toxicity of the WNBA. It's been a drama-filled season for multiple reasons. If you followed the Indiana Fever this year around, you know that their season was nothing short of a Night Shyamalan thriller. With so many twists and turns throughout the season, everybody would be done with it by now. The drama started with the entire DeWanna Bonner saga, and from then on began the saga of injuries. Till August 7th, they were limited to just Caitlin Clark. However, a single game against the Phoenix Mercury opened the floodgates. After losing Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald in the same game, the Fever went on to lose Sophie Cunningham, Chloe Bibby, and in their final game of the season, Kelsey Mitchell. Throughout these injuries, a recurring sentiment coming out was the poor standard of officiating and, of course, the fines. Who would know more about the fines than Sophie Cunningham? But if that wasn't all, Nafisa Collier's explosive exit interview seemed to be the final nail in the coffin. With so many revelations, including how Caitlin Clark's $16 million deal won't be there without Kathy Engelbert. With all that going around in the season, it seems like Sophie Cunningham is done with the league for the time being. And it is understandable, of course, professional athletes already have so much stress and mental fatigue built up by the time the season ends. Add all this drama to the equation, and the best would want to take a break. But the question would still remain. Once the CBA negotiations are done, will we see Sophie Cunningham in the Indiana Fever jersey again? Will Caitlin Clark's protector return to the Indiana Fever next season? In her exit interview, Sophie Cunningham had admitted her love for the Indiana Fever and had even shown a desire to return to the franchise. However, at the same time, she admitted the reality of the situation and the fact that she needs to evaluate all the offers she gets once the CBA negotiations are done. When asked about whether she wants to come back, she had a fairly diplomatic response. She said, "I'm definitely going to be entertaining other teams, other offers. But my hope is, I've had a great time here, and I would like to continue that, but I also think with the new CBA, there's a lot on the line." Well, considering the impact Sophie had on the team and the close bond she has with Caitlin Clark, it is natural to assume that the Indiana Fever would do whatever it can to bring her back. However, with almost the entire league hitting the free agency, there might be some better opportunities for the Fever. We should also remember that the Indiana Fever also has to re-sign Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull. With the way these CBA negotiations have dragged on, the future is murky for all involved. But it is clear that from both sides, there is a willingness to run it back next year. Sure, the numbers also have to make sense, but as things stand, we'd bet on Sophie Cunningham coming back to the Indiana Fever next season. The WNBA Finals stage was supposed to be a celebration, the culmination of a season filled with soaring ratings, superstar performances, and the rise of new icons. But amid the glitz and the national spotlight, one voice cut through the noise like a siren. A teammate of Caitlin Clark, one who has seen firsthand the highs and chaos surrounding the league's most electric rookie, broke her silence in a way that left fans, pundits, and even league executives stunned. Her words weren't just a critique. They were a mirror. "It's not just about basketball anymore," she confessed in a candid post-game interview. "The finals are supposed to be about the game, but it feels like everything else gets in the way. The politics, the narratives, the tension. Sometimes you wonder if the league even knows how to handle the spotlight it finally has." Those few sentences rippled through the basketball world like a thunderclap. Because while Caitlin Clark has been the lightning rod, the spark that reignited national attention around the WNBA, her teammates' honesty hit at something deeper. The growing pains of a league suddenly thrust into the cultural mainstream. The pressure cooker behind the finals. The WNBA's 2025 finals have been the most watched in 2 decades, largely thanks to the generational magnetism of Clark and the fierce personalities orbiting her. Every dribble, stare, and quote feels like an event. Yet behind that energy, players are feeling something else entirely: exhaustion, frustration, and in some cases, disillusionment. "People think we're just out here hooping," Clark's teammate said, shaking her head. "But every game now feels like a statement, or worse, a storyline waiting to be spun. You can't just play free anymore." It's a sentiment that resonates across the league. A quiet acknowledgement that the WNBA's sudden burst of attention hasn't come without growing pains. For years, players begged for visibility. Now that they have it, they're realizing how heavy that spotlight can be. Clark's meteoric rise has amplified everything: the fandom, the rivalries, the scrutiny. Every celebration is dissected, every hard foul turns into a national debate, and every finals moment becomes an allegory for something bigger. Her teammates' admission felt like a deep exhale, a truth long whispered behind locker room doors finally spoken out loud. The Caitlin Clark effect. Caitlin Clark has never been an ordinary rookie. Her pull on the sport transcends stat sheets. She's not just a player, she's a cultural event. And that gravitational force has reshaped the WNBA in real time, for better and worse. Teammates love her competitiveness, her leadership, and her relentless work ethic. But they also see the storm she carries with her. "It's like living in a constant media hurricane," the teammate explained. "Caitlin can't even miss a free throw without someone making a headline out of it. And when you're her teammate, you feel that too. Every win, every loss, every comment, it's magnified. That magnification reaches its peak during the finals, when the game becomes more than a game. The cameras follow every whisper, every glance, every perceived tension. What the fans see as entertainment, players experience as pressure." Still, the teammate's tone wasn't one of bitterness toward Clark. Far from it. "She's the real deal," she said. "She's changed the game." But the league wasn't ready for someone like her. And now, we're all paying the price for that unpreparedness.